Hey everybody, I want to do a little update on my office tank here. We've got some good news and some bad news. I haven't yet been down in the fish room tonight, so I don't know if we're going to be getting any video from what's going on down there. Don't really know what's going on down there yet. But when I came in this evening, I noticed two things. One, we will get to in a moment. That's the bad news. But the good news is all of the branching that I'm getting on my temple plant here is not as much branching as I thought. But if you look right there, you'll notice that that's actually a flower. So recently I was talking about cutting this plant, basically just topping it off so that I would get more branching and more of a bushy sort of effect. But I wasn't sure when I wanted to do that. I didn't know how tall the plant was going to get. I didn't know when it was going to top out. And I didn't know whether or not I was going to get any flowering off of it. So I decided to leave it alone. And here we are just about a week later, and I'm already getting flowers off of it. So that's fantastic. We can kind of see, I don't know how well it's coming out on video, but you can see it's got some reddish color in the leaves. The leaves themselves are very pretty. And I am actually getting some branching. This one over here is a branch, and then this down here is some more branching. So we might actually get some flowers developing off of those pieces as well. So that's the good news. The bad news is my new Bolivian Ram that I put in this tank is not going to be able to stay in this tank. The the rainbow shark that I have in here is just way too aggressive. There's just way too often that I look over and I see the shark is chasing the poor little Bolivian Ram around. It just never really seems to give it any peace. The only time it gets any peace is when it goes and hides somewhere. I haven't really been paying too much attention while we were talking about the plants, but now that I am looking around, I don't see the ram in there anywhere, and that's usually the case. You got to look and look and look, and then you'll find it like tucked down in between the leaves somewhere. There it is. It's all the way in the back here, kind of hiding behind. I don't even know if you can see it or not over there. But that's basically what it spends all of its time doing, trying to avoid being attacked by that shark. And if that's how it's going to have to spend its time, and I'm not going to see it anyway, then there's no point in leaving it in here. For one thing, it wouldn't live very long. These fish are very susceptible to stressful situations. I've had Bolivian Rams in the past, and I can tell you that if they're in a tank where they're being harassed a lot, they won't live very long. So one of them is going to have to go. There's the ram right there, just darted out into the middle. So one of them is going to have to go, and I'm not entirely sure who's going to go or where they're going to go. The shark will eventually probably outgrow this tank. Having a shark in a 20 long is maybe pushing it a little bit. They can get up to maybe 4 or 5 inches. They can get to be pretty sizable fish. But if that's the case, we're talking about, a year and a half down the road. I got time to plan, and who knows what's going to happen by then. So it's not urgent that I do that, but that is a consideration. That fish will eventually outgrow this tank. So it will have to come out of here at some point, provided, of course, it survives and lives that long and I don't have any issues or problems. So that's an option, but I don't know where I would move the shark if I pulled it out of here. The only two places I can think I might put it would be in my 125 with my Tenopoma, and into that tank I think it would do okay, or possibly in my waterfall tank, which is a 40-gallon tank. I think that the shark would do okay in there. Possibly it might harass some of the other fish, but nothing would eat it or anything like that, so I wouldn't be too worried about the shark going in that tank. So those are two options. I'm not really keen on either one of them, but they are options. My other option that I'd kind of thought about, and is probably what I'm leaning towards, is taking the ram out of here and putting the ram in my 29 miscellaneous. So that would be the first change my 29 miscellaneous has seen in years and years. And I'm a little reluctant to do that just because my experience is once you've got a tank that's ticking over like a machine, yep, see, look, here comes that shark, hunting him down, looking for him. It's going to run him out again. And it's constant. It's the shark, it just seems like that's all it does is just look for that ram to go find it and chase it. So I don't know if I'm going to do this tonight. I don't think it's that urgent. You know, I don't think I'm going to have a dead ram in there by the morning. But it's definitely going to happen within the next few days. So if I don't just up and make a decision tonight and do it, then I will still, you know, certainly listen to other people's input and opinions and so on and so forth. So whether I've gone ahead and done it or not by the time you're watching this video, go ahead and give me your 2 cents anyway. Because if I haven't done it, then, you know, it'll give me some food for thought and I'll be able to think it through a little. I'm going to try not to do anything rash, because if I do, you know, and then I start causing problems in another tank, it's just a cascade effect. Then I have to have, you know, figure out a way to sort out the issues in that tank and so on and so forth. So I want to be sure that whatever I'm going to do is actually going to work before I do it. So the other thing that's worth mentioning while we're talking about the rams is that the 2 rams that I have in my quarantine tank, if you follow along, you'll know that I also bought 2 other. I bought 3 rams when I bought them. 1 is in here and 2 is in my quarantine tank downstairs. And 1 looks okay. It's a little bit washed out color-wise, but that's to be expected after, you know, transport and everything. The other one, however, does not look good. It's up in the corner. It's hiding sort of behind the cord, like it would be the equivalent if it was up here in the corner, kind of hiding behind where the cord and the heater and everything. And it's just sitting in there, and it's sitting this way. It's not sitting this way, you know, with its face forward. It's facing up. With its tail straight down. And whenever fish look like they're just hanging in the water, I mean, it almost looks like it's hanging from the surface by its lips. And it's really thin, and it's really pale. So I don't know whether that's a result of being bullied by the other ram that's in that tank. The other ram does seem to bully it around a little bit, and may very well have sort of chased it up into that corner, and that's where it's forcing it to stay. I've seen that behavior plenty of times over the years, and I've seen that behavior kill fish over the years. So that's my other concern is, are they going to even survive quarantine? Yeah, or is that one going to survive quarantine? Obviously, the dominant one's going to survive, but is the less dominant one going to survive quarantine, or would it be better to simply pull that one out and put that in a tank by itself too, and then I'd have 3 different tanks that I'd have to find homes for these Bolivian rams. So, you know, once again, a fairly impulsive purchase. Well, it was a really impulsive purchase. I hadn't even considered buying. You know, I was going looking for a fish, didn't know what I wanted. I wanted to put some small fish somewhere. So the Bolivian Ram fits the bill, but it was also sort of, I didn't really think through the behavior, the locations, because these also get fairly substantial compared to what you're seeing now. They'll get at least twice that size. The Bolivian Rams I had before were probably about a quarter the size of what my T-bar cichlid was like. So imagine if you took, you know, the mass of like 3 or 4 skirt tetras and stacked them together. That was about how big my Bolivian Rams got. Again, fairly stout little fish for being such small dwarf cichlids like they are. So, you know, I'm going to need to think through where I put them and what's going on with them. So make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss anything. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up because I don't really know what else to say. Like I said, I'm just kind of thinking through what I want to do with these. And I'll give you one last look both at my little picture when I was 7 years old, because yes, that is me on the wall back there. And then, of course, there is that little purple flower right here that we can't focus on. There we go. So it's a pretty little thing, dainty little flower. I can't wait till we've got more. You know, all these little flower buds, all these are little, you know, going to flower too. So that'll be interesting to watch that unfold. So as I said, make sure you're subscribed. And then that way you won't miss anything I've got coming up. You never know what it's going to be with me. And then don't forget, of course, this one is my 20-gallon open-topped office tank. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you real soon in the next one.